Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories.
It's so sacred we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America?
That we needed a new world order.
A new world is emerging. It is a new world order.
We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order.
I mean, the Jews are waiting for the Messiah. The Hindus are awaiting the return of Krishna. The Buddhists await Maitreya Buddha. The Muslims await the Imam Mahdi. The Christians await the Christ. He comes as all of these.
I've always wondered, how does the world go to war against God? And John tells us, I saw 3 unclean spirits like what? Like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty.
Congressman Kucinich, you cited a UFO in Washington State. It was a triangular craft, silent and hovering. You found the encounter extremely moving and heard directions in your mind. Did you see a UFO?
I did.
Is there, for example, a microchip, a tracking device we can use for our kids?
PLD stands for Personal Locating Device, which is an implantable GPS for which our company owns a patent and can be implanted surgically in the child or someone that you are interested in tracking.
I love this idea, by the way, Scott. I think this is a great...
Thank you, Sean.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories.
All right, so now we'll move on to Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. And pretty much what we have established in Attack of the Clones is there's an uprising within the Republic. A bunch of star systems or planets or whatever start to withdraw from the Republic. They no longer feel represented by the Republic. They've grown disgruntled. They're led by a separatist named Count Dooku. Count Dooku is, as it turns out, the next Sith apprentice. He is, one of these Illuminist-type people, and this whole thing is being manipulated to cause conflict, to artificially cause a war between the Republic and the Separatists. And, you can look at the role of Roman Catholicism in a multitude of wars. You can look at pretty much every war that we've been in since, the Civil War, maybe even including the Civil War and the American Revolution as having been promulgated by some kind of Illuminist regime, all just in accordance to this long, drawn-out plan to get the world in the state that it's in today, maybe a step or two ahead of where we are right now, in order to bring about the physical manifestation of Lucifer.
As I explained to you earlier, I am quite convinced that 10,000 more systems will rally to our cause with your support, gentlemen.
The Techno-Union Army is at your disposal, Count.
Their banking clan will sign your treaty.
Good, very good. Our friends from the Trade Federation have pledged their support, and when their battle droids are combined with yours, we shall have an army greater than any in the galaxy. The Jedi will be overwhelmed. The Republic will agree to any demands we make.
And that's really a funny thing, because we look at everything so concrete, and when you discover that America is no more a Christian nation than China or Japan, then you have to look at the Founding Fathers, you have to re-examine everything, and you have to re-examine every war that we've been in. Has there actually been a reason for these wars? It's always the leaders that want wars. People do not typically want war. They don't want death. They don't want destruction. It's when leaders who are controlled by the, behind-the-scenes ruling elite, the money people, that's when you have wars. Wars make money. Wars are all about purging one civilization or another, as in population control. They're about making money, and they're about power. And in so many cases, if you actually study various wars and you look at, just look at how we got into World War II. Well, they needed Pearl Harbor because we Americans didn't want to get involved in that conflict. So we allowed Pearl Harbor to occur in order to get us into that war. And, you look at the Civil War. How many other countries actually had a civil war over slavery? Look at the American Revolution and how America was able to win that war. You look at a guy like Ben Franklin, who was so instrumental in many ways playing both sides of that war. I mean, this is nothing new. What we see here when we hear, whoever screaming about inside jobs and this and that, well, there's been a globalist inside job going on pretty much since the dawn of time. This is nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. It's all been done before, and it's all going to continue to happen until the millennial reign. And that's just all there is to it. All right, anyway, back to Attack of the Clones. Now we have the idiot Jar Jar Binks, who, like I mentioned before, never stops talking, never stops thinking. He's just a ball of action. There's never any, what would be the word? There's never a moment of reflection. It's just all spontaneity. Whatever comes to mind, the thing does. He flaps around, he's clumsy, whatever. This is the antithesis of Buddhism. This is the antithesis of the Jedi Order. And as such, he's depicted as an idiot with gods, etc., etc., etc. So now we have Jar Jar, and we find out that he's become a senator. And here is what he manages to accomplish in the Senate.
It's a clear these are separatists made a pact. We said these are Federation do trade. Senator, fellow delegates, in response to this direct threat to the Republic, Misha proposed that the Senate give immediately emergency powers to the Supreme Chancellor.
Order! We shall have order!
It is with great reluctance that I have agreed to this calling. I love democracy. I love the Republic. The power you give me, I will lay down when this crisis has abated. And as my first act with this new authority, I will create a grand army of the Republic to counter the increasing threats of the Separatists.
It is done, then. I will take what Jedi we have left and go to Geonosis and help Obi-Wan.
Visit, I will, the cloners on Camino. And see this army they have created for the Republic.
Now we have this clone army was created because a Jedi supposedly showed up at this cloning facility and ordered all these clones to be made. So they just happen to have them ready for this crisis. And, more of the same manipulation from Darth Sidious or Emperor Palpatine or Chancellor Palpatine, whatever he goes by at that point in time. Jar Jar gives him the executive privilege, the authority to go ahead and assume more control because he's an idiot. And basically this is what America has done. We just sit back and watch as more and more and more of our liberties are taken to save us from the Phantom Menace that we know as international terrorism. But more importantly, I want you to think about this. Even in the 70s, when first mention of the Clone Wars came up, how realistic was cloning really? while I was watching these movies during my childhood, I guess in the late 70s and early 80s, that was like the furthest thing from reality. You might as well have been talking about flying cars. There was no way that that was ever going to happen. Well, just as, George Lucas reemerges from the cave that he's been hiding out in and earning billions upon billions of dollars for the last 20 years to make the prequel trilogy, to fill in the blanks about the Clone Wars, well, now cloning has become all the rage, and now we're going to have cloned food. I mean, it's really not out of the realm of possibilities for the creation of some kind of a clone army. And there are countless stories, if you actually take the time to look them up, where people want to merge animal traits and different things with humans to create what in essence would be a very new species, but at the same time something that very well could be a super soldier. And you follow the money, you follow the train of thought. Whenever this technology, this type of stuff is embraced, and you need look no further than all of these new weapons that are non-lethal, in quotes, that actually, are lethal. It's constantly the government involved in developing these things. So when you see governments changing their mind on chimeras, and when you see the embracing of cloning for food, or cloning for this, or cloning for that, you can bet your bottom dollar that our government, as well as many other governments in this world, are looking at the concept or the idea of the creation of some kind of a hybridized, superhuman, Uberman type, Hitler-esque type Superman army. The creation of this type of creature. And it's just very, very, very strange to me with the timing of everything, because just as it becomes possible, there's George Lucas again, and he's going to fill in the gaps for us. So episode 2 ends with the Jedi are in dire straits, and Yoda shows up with this clone army, and they're ready. They're there to win the battle just in the nick of time, and so everyone in the Republic applauds the move. This was a great move. Wonderful to have all these troops at the disposal of the Republic. And these troops are actually being created to form a new army that will make up the backbone of the Empire and, I guess, become stormtroopers. And if you actually look into what Lucas's original idea of these things were, the Emperor actually communicated with the stormtroopers telepathically. And the reason that the Empire lost in Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, was because the Emperor was too preoccupied with Darth Vader and Luke, and he lost control of his minions. And if you take the time to actually look into something called Project Jedi, which is was an 80s military program that I talked about before, where the United States military got involved with a bunch of psychics, basically, and, they're working on astral projection and trying to see the future and locate things and just using these psychic abilities. I mean, this stuff, as odd as it sounds, is so firmly based in reality that it is not even funny. It's just so bizarre, I know, on the surface, but there's so much truth in even the most bizarre of movies. And it's just something that people need to be made aware of. I firmly believe you can learn an awful lot from reading books and watching movies, etc., 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 but you have to know what is actually going on in the world around you, or else this stuff is just nothing more than disinformation at best. I mean, there's no absolute truth here. There's no, well, this is how things are going to unfold, blah, 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 blah. But you can then look at these things and see how the population is being manipulated and controlled and led to believe certain things, whether subliminally or whether overtly. And it's just very important to understand art and to understand society if you're going to have any, temperature gauge on what the actual state of the world is. Now we will move on to Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. In this film, we will see Anakin become Darth Vader, give in to the dark side, reach his full potential as a master of evil, and we will see the formation of this new galactic order, which is the Galactic Empire. And over and over and over again, right on the Star Wars website, this is termed the New Galactic Order. All right, so the film begins with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker being detached to save Chancellor Palpatine, who has been taken hostage by Count Dooku, who is in reality Palpatine's apprentice. This is all promulgated. This is all just a show. And this is basically Palpatine's way of getting rid of this apprentice and doing it in such a way that it would lead Anakin down the dark path and into a new apprenticeship underneath Palpatine. So let's listen as this begins.
Chancellor.
You all right?
Count Dooku.
I've been looking forward to this.
My powers have doubled since the last time we met, Count.
Good. Twice the pride, double the fall.
Good, Anakin, good. Kill him. Kill him now.
I shouldn't.
Do it. You did well, Anakin. He was too dangerous to be kept alive.
Yes, but he was an unarmed prisoner. I shouldn't have done that. It's not the Jedi way.
It is only natural. He cut off your arm, and you wanted revenge.
Now, this is something that runs very deep in Star Wars. The lightsaber battles, basically. Now, you have, at points, this goading back and forth between the people fighting. And the dark side is always trying to entice the good guy. Hate, yeah, vengeance, this, that, yes, focus on your hate, blah, 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 you get power from your hate. Now, you're watching this fight and you're wrapped up in this fight. And when, you see these characters goading the good guy, fight me, strike me down, this and that, you're sitting there, you want the action. You want to see it. Yeah, hit him. Go after him. Is that, cut him. Do what you got to do. Let's get on with the action. People, by and far, in the Star Wars fandom, love Darth Vader. Darth Vader is it. I mean, Darth Vader and Darth Maul. These are two bad guys. They're, just so cool. Always so cool. It's like the movies are, in many ways, drawing you in and enticing you to, want to just feel the hate surge through you. You feel the emotion. I mean, the music does that. Absolutely subliminally pulls you in. And, it'll come out more as we get deeper into this. But it just is something that struck me very recently, actually, while I was putting these clips together, just how much the audience is drawn in agreement to what Palpatine, in many cases, is saying. And it's almost as if he's speaking for you. Don't stop. What are you stopping for? Go after him. I hate this guy. He's bad. Get him. All right, so now we're going to have a little bit more of that Christian doctrine spilling over into the Star Wars universe, and I say that very tongue-in-cheek because, again, this is what these movies have been about since the first one. And I'm sorry, but I just do not see the correlation between Star Wars and Christianity at all. It's Buddhism and a whole bunch of other things all squished into one neat bundle. It is not Christianity.
Premonitions? Premonitions? These visions you have.
They're of pain, suffering, death.
Yourself you speak of? Or someone you know?
Someone.
Close to you?
Yes.
Careful you must be when sensing the future, Anakin. The fear of loss is a path to the dark side.
I won't let these visions come true, Master Yoda.
Death is a natural part of life. Rejoice for those around you who transform into the Force. Mourn them, do not. Miss them, do not. Attachment leads to jealousy. The shadow of greed, that is.
What must I do, Master Yoda?
Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose.
All right, so you cut through the crap there. I mean, that is the religious element within Star Wars. I'm not even going to get further into it at this point. I'll play you the next clip, which is Anakin talking to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And they're talking about the Separatists again and more executive powers.
You missed the report on the Outer Rim sieges.
I'm sorry, I was held up. I have no excuse.
In short, they are going very well. Seleucumai has fallen, and Master Voss has moved his troops to Bos Pitti.
What's wrong, then?
The Senate is expected to vote more executive powers to the Chancellor today.
Well, that can only mean less deliberating and more action. Is that bad? It'll make it easier for us to end this war.
Be careful of your friend, Palpatine.
Be careful of what?
He has requested your presence.
What for?
He would not say.
He didn't inform the Council. That's unusual, isn't it?
All of this is unusual. And it's making me feel uneasy.
Well, that should strike home with just about every American post 9/11. None of this is normal. None of this is anything we've ever experienced before in our lives, and we all feel uneasy. And some of us just say, hey, keep giving the government more power. They'll take care of us. They're good people. We vote for them. And then there are others of us that are more insightful and understand that something just doesn't add up and something just doesn't make sense. And perhaps the paid liars that we know we elect for being the best liars are not the people we should be trusting with more and more and more and more power. And I just think there's an awful lot of this that should resonate. It's meant to resonate with you. It's meant to resonate with an audience. It is, a film, this one especially is a film of our time. And, again, it's an indoctrination tool. And again, it is a disinformation tool. But at the same time, you should see the parallels. And I'm sure that all of you that have seen these films have already seen these parallels. I'm not necessarily doing this for you. I'm not trying to talk down to you guys. I understand that some of you are 20 times more smart than I am, or smarter than I am. And that should just pretty much have proven it right then and there. Now, this next clip we are going to have between Anakin and the Chancellor, Sidious, or Palpatine, depending on the role he's playing at the time. I guess he's Palpatine here. And what you will discover is Anakin's fall is in part due to pride and in part due to lusting after secret and forbidden knowledge. And as I will get into in Episode 4, more specifically, which is where Star Wars all began, the entire epic is kicked off. The entire Star Wars saga is kicked off over forbidden knowledge. Now, let's listen to this exchange.
We've just received a report from Master Kenobi. He has engaged General Grievous.
We can only hope that Master Kenobi is up to the challenge.
I should be there with him.
It's upsetting to me to see that the Council doesn't seem to fully appreciate your talents. Don't you wonder why they won't make you a Jedi Master?
I wish I knew. More and more, I get the feeling that I'm being excluded from the Council. I know there are things about the Force that they're not telling me.
They don't trust you, Anakin.
They see your future. They know your power will be too strong to control. You must break through the fog of lies the Jedi have created around you. Let me help you to know the subtleties of the Force.
How do you know the ways of the Force?
My mentor taught me everything about the Force, even the nature of the dark side.
You know the dark side?
Anakin, if one is to understand the great mystery, one must study all its aspects, not just the dogmatic, narrow view of the Jedi. If you wish to become a complete and wise leader, you must embrace a larger view of the Force. Be careful of the Jedi, Anakin. Only through me can you achieve a power greater than any Jedi. Learn to know the dark side of the Force, and you will be able to save your wife from certain death.
What did you say?
And what happens? Anakin submits, Anakin learns the ways of the dark side, and everything that this man, everything that Palpatine tells him, outside of saving his wife, is true. He becomes like the most powerful Jedi ever. He is, evil, and at the end he's good, and through this fall, he is able to save everyone by defeating this Sith Lord, by basically expelling evil from the galaxy as he tries to save his son. So when Palpatine tells him, you must, delve into this evil, you have to do it in order to be well-rounded, in order to live up to your potential, well, he was right. And again, you tell me how this has anything at all to do with Christianity. It doesn't. It just totally doesn't. What it does, however, is really just kind of expel that mystery school mystique. There's knowledge out there, and, you can embrace it. You can really do something with your life, You just got to tap into it. And don't be, stuck in that narrow-minded dogma of Christianity. That's garbage. That's rubbish. Embrace the greater whole. There's so much more out there that you can just tap into, and it'll give you instant gratification and instant success. And, hey, maybe you'll make billions of dollars making movies or writing books or, doing whatever it is that you want to do. But just, embrace the dark side. Go for it. And in the end, there's still time to change. There's still, there'll still be good in you. And, you can always come out of it. It's not something you need to worry about. You got your whole life ahead of you. It's exactly what Christians should be completely opposed to. You don't wait until your deathbed to sit there and say, maybe I should have, I live my life a complete evil, maniacal, murdering, traitorous person. But I'm going to redeem myself now and just ask forgiveness and die happy and go to heaven. I mean, that's not really how it works, If you want to change, if you want to accept Christ, then you do it, and you do it when you are called to do so. You don't put it off and live your life under your own power, under your own rule, never thinking twice about anything else but your own desires. No, but in Anakin's case, that's fine. Star Wars basically teaches you it's good to fall. It's good to fall hard. It's okay to be the most despicable person in the world because in the end, you can be redeemed. In the end, the Chosen One went through all of this. The Chosen One was, the scum of the earth. And he was the Chosen One. And just as much as he built the New World Order, he also destroyed it. He made it all right. It was just a natural birth and rebirth and, just the order of the universe, just all falling in line. And now everything is balanced again. And you have that yin and yang thing going on again.
Use my knowledge, I beg you.
You're the Sith Lord.
I know what's been troubling you. Listen to me.
Don't continue to be a pawn of the Jedi Council. Ever since I've known you, you've been searching for a life greater than that of an ordinary Jedi. A life of significance, of conscience. Are you going to kill me?
I would certainly like to.
I know you would. I can feel your anger. It gives you focus, makes you stronger.
I'm going to turn you over to the Jedi Council.
Of course you should. But you're not sure of their intentions, are you?
I will quickly discover the truth of all this.
You have great wisdom, Anakin. Know the power of the dark side. Power to save Padme.
And again, we have the link to Tibet. We have the link to the Tibetan masters. And honestly, you read about these Tibetan masters. They pretty much, they're these monk-looking dudes. They look pretty much like the Jedi. If you see these drawings that the Theosophical people who have communicated with them have done, either freehand or through automatic writing with these things drawing themselves. It's just really weird. And again, I just want you to keep the Tibet thing in your mind. And it's not something that really needs to be focused on too much more here. But in the end, Padme dies. What that means, I have no idea. Again, I'm not trying to tell the future or something from these movies. I'm just making points here. I'm just trying to lay the parallels out because, like I stated before, I really do think that there are parties involved in creating these films that know an awful lot more about what's going on in the world and what's going to be going on in the world than anyone could possibly imagine. All right, next clip, we are going to hear Anakin become Darth Vader. Now, pay attention to the Emperor saying the Force is strong in you. Yes, the Force, the Antichrist Force, the God of Forces, is strong in him. I mean, from that parallel, if you draw that parallel, then it makes sense. Then you're seeing a complete understanding of what the God of Forces is. It's evil. It's not good. It's not in good people. Certainly not good Christian people. But I don't know. Just listen to the clip.
The Force is strong with you. A powerful Sith you will become. Henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader.
Thank you, my master.
Right.
All right, so now we have the revelation. Palpatine becomes on the outside what he is on the inside. And everyone should see him as this, monstrously deformed freak. He's pure evil. He looks pure evil. Anyway, let's keep listening.
Because the Council did not trust you, my young apprentice, I believe you are the only Jedi with no knowledge of this plot. When the Jedi learn what has transpired here, they will kill us, along with all the senators.
I agree. The Council's next move will be against the Senate.
Every single Jedi, including your friend Obi-Wan Kenobi, is now an enemy of the Republic.
I understand, Master.
We must move quickly. The Jedi are relentless. If they are not all destroyed, it will be civil war without end. First, I want you to go to the Jedi Temple. We will catch them off balance.
Yeah, there are Jedi temples. That's something that should be mentioned. And they are stepped pyramids, like what you see in Central and South America. You have this theme of pyramids pretty much everywhere in the world, so why not in Star Wars? And yes, the Jedi temples are these pyramid-like structures. All right, the next clip is Anakin and Obi-Wan confronting one another. They're about to do battle. And we have Obi-Wan saying, well, you've turned and become the thing that you swore you would destroy. And you look at this, and I'm going to tell you my take on this. And my take on this very simply is that they're both wrong, and they're both twisted, and they're both evil. And neither one of them is pure force or whatever, you know, looking at it from this universe. And the parallel I'll draw to that is Christianity as a whole, because I believe that Christianity as a whole today has become something that is not pure. That it is something that is just, how can I put it any more bluntly? It's something that has embraced many, many, many of the things that it stands or should stand as the complete antithesis of. And you have all of these, you know, look at the zeitgeist people, look at whoever. They want to sit back and claim that, hey, you're a foolish Christian because you believe in God and there's no proof of God. But I will believe just about anything so long as it disproves your belief in God. And I don't think that's what George Lucas had in mind here at all. But that's my take on this. That's what I you know, I see so many parallels here with the papacy, and I know that that's probably not what many people would think of while watching this, but you know, I used to joke with my girlfriend that Ratzinger was the evil pope, and I used to make a funny voice, and I made a funny picture of him with lightning coming out of his fingers like the Emperor from Star Wars. And I've seen a few places afterwards, I've seen this pop up elsewhere, so I'm not the only one that sees this parallel. But as a Christian, I do see a parallel here. I do see Christianity, the religion of Christ, those that follow Christ, doing exactly what we were instructed not to do, being exactly what we were instructed not to be. Money hungry, bloodlust, just everything that is just, you know, you go right to the sun worship stuff. Yes, you know, there is quite a valid argument in the zeitgeist thing, and that is solely based on what Roman Catholicism contributed to Christianity. And again, you look at everything as if there's been some evil force on the earth moving and working and putting together this construct, this New World Order type galactic empire, New Order of the Galaxy thing, you know, from a long time ago. And you can, I guess, somewhat understand how these things, these traps and snares and whatnot have been set, and they're just waiting to be sprung. As, you know, Christians lose complete understanding of what their faith is supposed to be, of what the actual Bible says, not what they saw on a a cartoon version of the Bible on DVD, or what their pastor told them the Bible says, or what their NIV Bible says, ignoring the King James or whatnot. There's just so much deception going on, and as a whole, humanity has become dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber as we've progressed throughout the last century and into this one. So these snares are just set, and people are too stupid to research it, too stupid to understand how this stuff got there. And so many Protestants are just so, willing to give the finger to Catholicism when they don't even examine what they study. They don't even examine the doctrine that they're taught. They don't, they came, in essence, from Catholicism, so much of it. And some of it was purged, and a lot of it remained. So, I don't know. I just a ramble in here. I think it's very important for Christians to understand where we are, to understand how imperative it is for them to actually open their Bible and read their Bible and take the time to understand what they're reading, not just to take a little handout that they got passed around in church on Sunday and look up this chapter and here's what you need to know about it, and it is... You actually need to interpret it, as in you read the words and you understand what those words mean. Don't just take someone else's word for it. Pray about this stuff, because I don't care about the zeitgeist people that are just so obsessed with hating Christianity that they just can't possibly ever, they'll believe anything. As long as it discredits Christianity, they'll believe it. What I'm concerned with are Christians that are not well-educated Christians. What I'm concerned with are people that, might be saved if they don't step on these snares that just, are just built into this religious system that we have now. That is, in essence, like just a broken machine. It is not what it was created to be. And so much of what Christianity is supposed to be has just been eroded and redefined since 9/11. And I'm not even going to get into all that now. I'll go back to the movie. Don't want to ramble too much here. Really, this is going to be like the longest podcast ever. But anyway, let me get back to Revenge of the Sith.
I have brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire.
Your new empire?
Don't make me kill you.
Anakin, my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy!
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes. I will do what I must.
All right, so this, if you're not with me, then you're my enemy line has been well noted to have, just been a copy of George Bush saying, if you're not with us, then you're against us, talking about terrorism after 9/11. Again, this is a film of its time, and the parallels are just so absolute that it's very hard to miss it. And you have Obi-Wan saying, oh, only a Sith deals in absolutes. Well, the dark side and blah, blah, blah. Well, that pretty much sums it all up. There are no absolutes. There is no absolute good, and there is no absolute evil. And anything in this universe can be good and can be evil. And the most evil thing possible, the most evil person possible, the most murderous, despicable person can redeem himself. There's no savior. This is the savior saving himself. And that's a very, very important part of all this. This is like a Greek tragic arc when you have this, fall and rise again of this hero. And, how much of a hero can he really be? Now we have Darth Sidious, or Palpatine, in the Senate, and he is talking about a staged Jedi insurrection. And this was basically what became a quick purge of whatever Jedi they could round up. They justified it by saying the Jedi were trying to overtake the Senate. And again, the more this inside job problem reaction solution thing.
And the Jedi Rebellion has been foiled.
What's happened?
The Chancellor's been elaborating on a plot by the Jedi to overthrow the Senate.
The remaining Jedi will be hunted down and defeated.
Now, this just really strikes me like the Templar Knights and the Catholic Church. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. It's not anywhere near as close to the Antichrist hunting down the Christians as I once believed, especially when I was younger. This is very specific people with very specific beliefs being hunted down and killed for very specific purposes. And this has absolutely nothing to do with Christianity. This has everything to do with the occultists, with the Baphomet-worshipping Templar Knights. And, the rivalry they had with the papacy. And that's the way I see it. All right, now here's a question raised. And I think that this is just more the same. This is more of trying to push the buttons of the patriots in America, saying, wake up, wake up. You need to rise up. You need to rebel. You need to revolt. Something's not right. We're the enemy. The government's the enemy. I honestly believe that the goal here, for whatever reason, is eventually going to be civil war. They want insurrection in this country so that it can be squashed. And I just can't help but to see it that way. And I just pick up on this in so many places, whether it be Jericho, whether it be Star Wars. So listen to this clip.
Sometimes I wonder what's happening to the Jedi Order. I think this war is destroying the principles of the Republic.
Have you ever considered that we may be on the wrong side?
What do you mean?
What if the democracy we thought we were serving no longer exists, and the Republic has become the very evil we've been fighting to destroy?
I don't believe that. And you're sounding like a separatist.
It's just too obvious sometimes, What if we're the bad guys? What if our government? What if what if the people who represent us are no longer, I don't know. They're begging for it. And this whole thing, I'm listening to people talking about amnesty. I think it was Sean Hannity talking about how talk radio saved the country from having the amnesty plan last year. And without talk radio, we would have that pushed through. And someone sent me an email about the Real ID being rewritten as a secure social security card now. And they're going to try to push that through. And what they do is they tax us and they refuse to represent us. They dictate to us what our laws are going to be. They force what we don't want as a unified whole, as a nation, down our throats for our own safety and security. And they will continuously rewrite and re-edit and tell us, well, amnesty didn't pass, while they ignore the fact that they've rewritten it into 90 different little pieces to cram it down our throats. And people are going to be picking up on this. And I think we're getting very close to that tipping point where people are going to be like, no taxation without representation. You don't represent us anymore. I mean, it just seems to be coming full circle to me. And while I'm not about to raise a finger against anyone, I think there are a lot of very angry people out there. There are a lot of very unstable people out there. And, I just can't help but to see that at some point there's going to be a flare-up over something. And whether or not it's someone trying to preserve the American way, the American culture, I don't know. But I don't know. I just get the feeling like we are going to have some kind of a civil war in this country. All right, so Anakin ends up fighting Obi-Wan, getting burnt up on a hell-like planet. And I'm not really going to play you any clips from that because it's not really too important. What I am going to play you, however, is something that I'm going to elaborate more on in a few minutes. And this is Yoda talking to Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Ben Kenobi, about going into hiding and what he wants Obi-Wan to be studying while he is in hiding, while he's watching over Anakin's son Luke Skywalker. So here is that clip.
Until the time is right, disappear we will. Master Kenobi, wait a moment. In your solitude on Tatooine, training I have for you.
Training?
An old friend has learned the path to immortality. One who has returned from the netherworld of the Force. Your old master. Qui-Gon. How to commune with him, I will teach you.
All right, now, this is purely necromancy. This is, bringing someone back from the dead and talking to them. And, you've got the Witch of Endor in the Old Testament dealing with this. And now you've, in Star Wars, you've got the planet Endor. And on the planet Endor in Return of the Jedi is where we see Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Anakin Skywalker in ghost form. So, you can make sense of that any way you choose. I definitely think that the symbolism is there. This is nothing more than raising spirits and necromancy. But there is more to this in the realm of Star Wars. I mean, it seems like such a little thing. And again, this is an addition that a lot of Star Wars purists, so to speak, they really didn't like it. They didn't like having a lot of this stuff explained. But this was Lucas's plan right along. The information that Yoda was going to bestow upon Obi-Wan for his training comes from something called the Journal of the Wills. And there's been pictures and stuff in the past of Yoda writing on a scroll and all this stuff. And it's this Journal of the Wills. It's actually this information on how to communicate with the dead and how to, you yourself, keep from becoming one with the Force and to, remain an individual beyond death. Now, if you go to a website called thesecrethistoryofstarwars.com, which again is linked in the podcast reference material, we read the following. The birth of Father Skywalker. Obviously, one of the focal points of the secret history of Star Wars is the tracing of the development of Luke's father throughout the scripts. But there is, however, one area of note in which we might further explore the origin and evolution of the character. That area is not how the character ended up transforming into the character of the final script and subsequently into Darth Vader, but how it was that Father Skywalker actually appeared in Draft 1 in 1974. There's actually a very observable paper trail that shows the creative process, blah, 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 blah. The earliest Star Wars tale is not called The Star Wars, which is the script that most people will find, but the Journal of the Wills. It tells of a young man, C.J. Thorpe, who trains to be a Jedi and becomes an apprentice to the wise Mace Windu. In many ways, blah, 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 blah. Okay, you get the picture. The original story for Star Wars was the Journal of the Wills. So in many ways, the first draft of Star Wars was to be very much all wrapped up in this necromancy. I mean, it spills throughout, the Star Wars films, these ghosts showing up, whatever. But it's beyond that. It's something that really was a focal point in the Star Wars saga right from the beginning. But there is possibly more to it even than that. I am not sure how I found this, obviously through Google, but what I searched, I don't know. This is some kind of a mail archive on Listserv, and it's hosted by AOL, and I've got a link to it in the reference material. Someone posted this. The following is from the book The Black Sun, Montauk's Nazi-Tibetan Connection by Peter Moon. Now again, the Tibetans. There's a lot more information yet to come forth with regard to the whole subject of Star Wars. Preston Nichols was involved with the sound production and has publicly claimed in lectures that psychics were used to project into the filming so that people would come and see the movie several times. Now, I mean, this may sound strange. Just the fact that when you read about the first times Star Wars was shown, the crowds spontaneously stood up and applauded and got involved in the movie. I mean, it's very strange. It's just not something that really had happened before. The Star Wars series itself was based upon George Lucas's Journal of the Will. Although it has not been publicly released, this journal contained the dreams and inspirations of Lucas, a man who is reported to have lived at Montauk. The use of the word will is a distinct parallel to Aleister Crowley's concept of the will. When one unleashes the will, whether it is through George Lucas or any other individual, the truth has a way of coming forth. The truth we are concerned about, lest anyone wonder, is unlocking the secrets of time. It seems clear that both Duncan and George Lucas were pulling from the same source. When we consider that Mark Hamill was once a roommate of Duncan, a childhood friend of Preston, and eventually became a brother-in-law of George Lucas, there's less room for speculation. There was an active and unseen influence working on all of them. And, let's see here. Okay, Secret Societies and Their Power in the 20th Century is the title of Jan's book. Now, Secret Societies and Their Power in the 20th Century, just so everyone knows this, the beginning of Star Wars is that 20th Century Fox thing, and you have the that thing. That was not found in films. That predates Star Wars many, many, many years, and it was removed. Star Wars brought that back. That was not present in contemporary films of Star Wars. That was something that Lucas wanted to, or he claims he wanted to throw in there just as a throwback to a different generation of film. Okay, now we have the secret he was unveiling had to do with the Black Knights, a group who traced their origin back to the original Knights Templar. According to his research, the Black Knights are the legitimate heirs of the Knights Templar who were burned at the stake during the purge of the Inquisition. Jan said the Nazis, via the Black Knights, had an ancient manuscript in their hands that had once actually belonged to the Templars. Before that, it belonged to the scribes of Israel. Precious secrets contained in this manuscript involve Hebrew scribes identifying their god as El Shaddai, the outcast archangel, or Satan. This information might sound shocking to those in particular self-righteous. It apparently had the same effect on leading proponents of the Aryans' cause and flamed their anti-Semitism. Now again, this harkens back to the Theosophists and Bailey and Blavatsky and all these people that believed in Atlantis and an Aryan race of these super people, and again, Tibet and Tibetan masters, and we've got the Knights Templar, and there's definitely this element within Star Wars, and it's a very dark and a very evil and a very sinister element. And there are countless, and I mean countless, websites dealing with astrology and Star Wars. And I'm not even going to get into that. I really know nothing about astrology. I don't ever want to know anything about astrology. But the dates when the films were released and specific times and whatnot apparently were very important in the occult. And a lot of this stuff, was believed to have played a role in the film's success. And again, I do not put it past anyone, whether it be George Lucas, someone at 20th Century Fox, all of the above. It just, nothing shocks me anymore. If I have to, look at my religion and look at my beliefs as a Christian and say, I was so wrong about that. I was so wrong. How could I have, missed this? Why in the world didn't I ever see this before? Then you have to just understand that this is a global thing. This is a very predominant, esoteric, dark, demonic thing that we have, and it just seeps into music, it seeps into movies. Everything is just steeped in the occult, in this secret knowledge, in putting it right in front of you, and haha, you just don't see it. You're too stupid. But we, the enlightened people, we the knowledgeable ones, well, we know, and haha, you're an idiot, and we worship Satan, and, give different names to demons, and, well, you think you're worshiping God, but you're really doing our bidding and worshiping our master. And sadly, that's just a big part of what Christianity has become. We're supposed to test spirits. We're not supposed to just say, you know what? They just took whatever God and stuck the name Jesus on it, and as such, it's good with me, it's fine with me. And in essence, that's what so much of Christianity is today. It's Jesus' teachings are so complicated yet so simple. It's a personal relationship. It's a very personal thing. It's not this huge pomp thing. It's not we have to set up his kingdom here on earth for us. It's not we have to go to war because we need to defend Israel, who can defend themselves anyway. And it's not even really Israel to begin with. It's no more Israel than Mary of Roman Catholicism is a representation of Mary, the mother of Christ, or their version of Christ is actually Jesus Christ. And, we just take all this for granted because, well, that's what we've always been told. So I'll stop rambling, but just, be aware that whether you're listening to music, whether you're watching movies, you're watching television, chances are there is something, programmed in there along with it. There's something piggybacking on the signal. All right, so I will end the second podcast on Star Wars here. This was podcast number 133. Again, the podcast reference material can be found on salvationrevelation.com. This is episode number 133. And the third and final podcast on Star Wars will be number 134, and that will be the next show. So in the meantime, I thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all again very soon.